Welcome everybody to the dungeon of the tonepriest. The tonepriest has been flagellating himself trying to revisit the Fender Harvard clone. Been working on this for the past couple of days, and it sort of works, but it just sort of sounds like the intro to the Beatles' Revolution.
We're going to be faced with a crisis, you know.
And that's cool and all if you're playing Revolution, but that's not quite what we're looking for. And the tonepriest has tried everything known to man to get it to not do that, and no success. So we're going to do something a little different. So hang tight. Before we get started, just making a new fresh placemat for the old workbench out of a pizza box here. Oh, cool! Check this out. You can make yourself a little mustache. Little Sicilian mustache. Isn't that cultural appropriation, though?
You're saying that I can't have a hairstyle because of your culture? Why?
Because it's my culture.
I think the Screaming Sicilian should be canceled. Alrighty then, what I thought we'd do today is build an effects pedal from scratch. I would like to build a clone of, can you see that? Can you see it? A Mojo Hand Effects Rook Overdrive pedal. And instead of purchasing a pre-made printed circuit board from like Pedal PCB or Mad Bean Pedals, or using what I have in the past, this perf board stuff here, I thought we'd use strip board, because I think it's going to be easier to use than these. These can be a pain in the butt because you have to make all the jumpers yourself after you add the components, or stick, you know, two legs of two different components into one hole if they're part of a node. And that's, yeah. It becomes problematic, especially as the complexity of the circuit increases. So we're going to put these to the back burner. And I just got these in today. I'll put a link in the thing if you want to get the same ones. But, let's pop these open and see what we got here. Ooh, child-proof container. Yeah, not knife-proof though.
Is it safe?
Oh, it's better than safe. It's death-proof.
Alrighty. And as you can see on the back side, there is no copper traces or conductive material. But on the front side, we have a bunch of columns or rows, depending upon how you want to do it. The two end ones just have a couple of holes in there, probably for your powers and grounds, conveniently located. But each column is a conductive strip. And that way you can connect all your components that are all in one node or in series or in parallel or what have you without having to make jumpers. And we found this on the old internet and put a link in the thing. And it shows us what we need to do. So there's nothing left to do it but to do it. So let's do it. Okay, so first little tip here. As you can see by the drawing, it looks like the components go down this way into it, and it looks like it's lined up like this, but you need to solder on this side. So the components are going to be pushed in from this side and soldered on the side with the copper traces. So, you know, it's a little confusing for a first timer there if you're looking at this, but yeah, solder will not stick to this unless you're very, very good. Alright, not sure if you're going to be able to see that. Oh yeah, you can see that. So on the back side, I have numbered the top and lettered the side. And if you can see on the drawing here, I don't know if you can see all that, but they have numbers up here and letters going down the side here for the rows. So just make sure you have it oriented correctly. So we're like this, flip it over, match it up. So we got 1 through 19 and then A through M. Yeah, I think we need some visual aids or... Yeah, well, we're not going to win an Oscar on this one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the familiar figure of Alfred Hitchcock.
Thank you.
But anyway, you get the idea. And yeah, it's probably a good idea to do this, especially if you're doing it for the first time like me, because things tend to get confusing easily, and you want to take all the guesswork out. Alright, so as you can see, we only really need this portion of the board. So what I'm going to try to do is, I think I'm going to score this, and then just put it to the edge of my desk, which is kind of a sharp corner, and give it a good whack. And hopefully it'll make a nice clean cut. And that worked beautifully, unlike my knife, which doesn't want to close now. Yeah, so that worked beautifully. Made the score right on the holes. You know, half the work's done for you if you repurpose the holes. Pop it off, and there we go. Alright, let's fill some holes. Alright, so we need to do a little prep work here. If you're looking at this, everywhere you see a red box is a cut in the trace. So we don't want this half of the trace to be conductive with this half of the trace. We're interrupting the current flow here. So we needed to go and we needed to scratch off the copper anywhere we see a red box. And there's a whole bunch of them. And yeah, pretty simple stuff. Alright, so to make all the cuts, we're going to work methodically top to bottom, left to right. And the first one we have to cut is right here, which is A11. So what I did is went to the back side, found A11, stuck a little leg through there so we can see the hole that we need to scrape. And then I just scored a little line into the copper trace, and then very carefully just scraped away the copper. And now if we test, you should probably do this with every single cut you do. So an unbroken trace is continuity, but on the one where we just made the cut, there is no continuity. There is to the left of the cut, but not to the right of it. There you go. Easy enough. Got about 18 more to do, and then we'll check in after that. So I've been working on this a little bit, making all the cuts, and you know, like every time I learn, do something for the first time and learn a new skill, I can't be bothered to take the 30 seconds to Google how to do it properly. I always try to invent the wheel, but I think I reinvented the wheel here. I think Dremel tool for the win on this sucker. Okay, skipping ahead here, we got all the passive components installed. Went pretty smoothly. This is what it looks like on the back. Blah, blah, blah. So now we're going to wire up the off-board gear and give her a whirl. A couple of things here. The design called for 2 red LEDs as your clipping diodes, 3mm ones. I only had 5. The forward voltage is a little bit higher, but should be fine. And then I figured exactly what chip they want installed here. Oh, it says right here somewhere. JRC 4559. I ordered that. It hasn't arrived yet, so in the meantime, we're going to use this guy right here, which is, if we can read it, 5532, which the internet tells me should be just fine. So, all right, let's wrap this sucker up. Now it's time to do some pot.
Narc!
Being a narc is one of the hardest jobs that you can have.
Okay.
And I am very proud
Why
of
don't
being
you
a
just
narc.
cool it?
So-
Dwight, please? God. Dude, where's my office? I totally lost it. Because I was half-baked, smoking doobies. Doobie Brothers. I was smoking doobies with my brothers. Peace out, Seacrest.
Here's all our pots. Schematic calls for the gain knob, audio taper 500K. Of course, all we have is linear. That's what the B stands for. Treble and bass knobs, linear 50K. Of course, all I have in stock are audio. And the volume is a linear 100K, which we do have. And when I first started making pedals, sorry about all the shadows, I ordered whatever was cheapest on wherever I could find it. But now that I'm doing it a little bit more, I buy this kind here with that kind of lug on it. This kind is the kind you get if you're soldering it directly into a circuit board. But I like to use wires so there's more flexibility as to the layout of where you want to set your knobs up in your enclosure. But anyway, I'll show you how I do it. Okie doke. So I'll start with this one. We'll do this one, and the technique's the same for all of them. For this one here, I'm just going to take my rounded needle nose pliers. Give the 3 legs a little loop in there, a little hook. 1, 2, 3. Alright. Hook them up into our helping hands. It's going to be really difficult because I can't really see what's going on because I'm showing you. Alright, I'll grab some wire. This is stranded wire, which is a little bit more flexible than solid wire. Colors really aren't important for this. About 5 inches. Should be more than adequate. If I can find my strippers. Never find a good stripper when you need one. Two, 3. Give them just a tiny bit of a little twist so the wire strands aren't all whacked out. And we're going to give them a little tin. One, two, 3. And we'll do the same thing on these. We'll give them a little J hook. I don't know if you can see that. I'll pop this sucker in here. Didn't do the best tin job on this one. I'm trying to do this quickly so as to not make the video overly excessively long. There we go. That'll be good enough for government work. And then when you're soldering, you're not blobbing solder onto your parts. You're heating up the 2 parts you want to connect. So the strands of the wire and the leg. And the leg will take, you know, a few extra seconds to heat up compared to like components on a circuit board. So touch your soldering iron to your 2 components. And then introduce the solder to the 2 components. When it melts, wait another half millisecond. It'll turn watery, and you're done. On these again, it takes a little bit longer for it for the solder to freeze as well, because there's a lot of metal in the leg. And then you're done. So multiply that by that many legs.
Triple Yahtzee, Challenge Yahtzee, and Word Yahtzee from Milton Bradley.
And it'll be time to move on. Here's all the off-board gear all pre-wired up, ready to go. We have our 4 knobs. We have a switch. And that's a single pole, double throw on. Input and output jack. I'm going to use the red wire one as our input in our 9-volt power supply. So we just got to hook it all up to our little circuit board. And the side of the diagram shows what wire goes where. So let's do that. Just noticed one thing before I'm going to do that. These guys here are jumpers. We need to install those. So it looks like we have 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 maybe? 6, 7? Yeah, we'll figure it out. So we'll throw the jumpers on there, and then we'll wire up all the off-board gear. And then we'll give her a whirl. I'm not going to hook up the foot switch yet, because that's a big pain in the butt, and we'll give this a test drive before we hook up the foot switch. Moving right along here, we're almost done. A couple of things I noticed with the jumpers. This being my first time doing this, this is something that I learned for the next time, is probably want to put the jumpers down first before you put down any of your components. That way you can avoid a bunch of weird stuff, like I had to run this one jumper around and underneath the circuit board to get all this to work. But learning all the time. The other thing is here on the volume, well, on the pots in general, I don't know what pin 1, 2, and 3 is, so hopefully I guessed right, and the knobs aren't all turning backwards, where you turn it clockwise to, that'll turn it, you know, down, but we'll see. Easy fix if it is. And then finally, the volume 2, we got volume 1 and volume 3. Volume 2 goes to the output jack, positive, the tip. So, almost done. All right, there we have it. Let's plug her up and see what she does.
That's what she said.
Michael, please.
There he is.
Please.
Mwah!
Come on.
All right, we got her up. Hey, what do you want? Hey, come on. Where are you going? Don't make me chase you. Hey. These are not the droids you're looking for. Come on. Hey, get over here. Come on, let's go. There you go. Back home. All right, we got her all plugged up and working. Now, she didn't work right away, and if yours doesn't work right away, consult the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and don't panic.
It has the words, "Don't panic," printed in large, friendly letters on its cover.
The problem with mine turned out to be I installed 1 or 2 jumper connections in the wrong socket, or wrong hole, whatever you want to call it. But easy enough fix. First thing I tried, this had LEDs in it as clipping diodes, and when I first fired it up and it didn't work, one of the LEDs lit up but the other one didn't. So that kind of sent me down the wrong path, and I swapped out regular diodes in there. So I'll go back and replace those at some point. But yeah, she's working. She sounds pretty good. The switch switches between asymmetrical clipping with 5 diodes and the 2 LED, or what should be the LED symmetrical clipping diodes. One is louder than the other, and it's probably because I just grabbed some random diodes and chucked them in there to see if that would fix the problem, but it didn't. But we found the problem with the jumpers, and the way I did that is you, what I did was get your multimeter out, put it in beep mode for continuity, hook the ground end on, you know, one of the negatives of the jack, or wherever you can find ground, and I just probed the circuit and checking to make sure there was grounds where there should be, and to see if there were grounds where there shouldn't be, or continuity to ground where there shouldn't be. And I was finding there was continuity between the, if you can see that, the A row on the board and ground. And lo and behold, I checked my connections, and a couple of jumpers were stuck into the wrong spot. And again, this is the first time I've used a strip board. And definitely jumpers first next time I make one. That'll make things a lot simpler and avoid that problem. But anyway, now I don't have the foot switch hooked up yet, so the effect is basically always on. But I've got the gain turned down all the way, and it's touching the pin, which is not good. So running through the Boss Katana right now in the acoustic mode, so that's pretty much what it sounds like with no effect. And there's going to be a shit ton of feedback, I guarantee you that, but do what we can. And noise. Oh, one other thing I noticed was very microphonic guitar. I did get all the knobs to work in the correct orientation except for the volume knob, which makes no sense. So I'll have to reverse the leads on pins 1 and 3 in the volume knob, so when you turn it clockwise it goes up. But anyway, minor detail. Can't play drums and guitar at the same time.
I'm gonna come looking for you. So with that switch and that orientation, I don't know if we're going through the asymmetrical or the symmetrical, what's supposed to be the LEDs, but I imagine it's the asymmetrical. But the switch in the other position. Sounds the same, but just quieter, and I think that's because probably using basically the same sort of thing. So we'll go back into loud mode. Alright, Telecaster just does not like all this gain, so hang tight. We're going to try a different guitar.
Few moments later.
Close enough.
understand it.
All right, you get enough of hearing me play guitar horribly. Yeah, cool pedal. After I make the enclosure and put the LEDs back in, I'll plug her into the tweed basement I built, and we'll mic her up and see what she really sounds like. Maybe in between now and then I'll actually practice guitar. Maybe learn a different AC/DC tune. But anyway, thanks for coming. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. I know that I did. Jumpers first.
Done.